All right, I'm Rob Schmidt. Welcome back. This is the Fox Report. It is the bottom of the hour. Here are some of the day's top headlines. Congressman Steve Scalise now in serious condition and reportedly up and talking to family members. That news a relief after the congressman underwent a series of surgeries for that complicated gunshot wound from the attack on a congressional baseball practice. Scalise's teammates and colleagues still trying to come to grips with exactly what happened.
I was cleaning out my baseball bag the day after the shooting, after we played our congressional baseball game for charity. And as I pulled something out from the area where you store your bats, I saw something drop on the ground. And here it is today, Chris. This is a piece of shrapnel from a madman who came to politically kill innocent people.
Other news, President Trump returning to Washington after his first visit to Camp David. He's facing more questions over the nature of the Russia investigation as he returns. Just days ago, the president tweeted this, quote, "I am being investigated for firing the FBI director by the man who told me to fire the FBI director. Witch hunt." But this morning, the president's lawyer told Chris Wallace something a little different.
The president has not been notified by anyone that he's under investigation. That tweet, Chris, was in response to the Washington Post story that alleged that 5 unnamed sources, anonymous sources, leaked to the Washington Post that the president was, in fact, under investigation.
All right, for more on this, we're going to bring in our panel here. Doug Schoen, former advisor to President Bill Clinton and a Fox News contributor. Also with us, Evan Siegfried, a Republican strategist and author of GOP GPS. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Sure.
Doug, we're gonna start with you. I think I know what you're going to say
Sure.
here, but that tweet that the president sent out a few days ago, would you say that was a mistake?
Well, if I was his lawyer or his political consultant, either one, I would have told him not to do it. But that being said, it seems pretty clear that he is under investigation, and I don't know why they want to litigate that issue rather than the substance, but I leave that to my good friend Jay Sekulow and Mark Kasowitz.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan, I have to think here that if there is not going to be any proof of the collusion, and we haven't seen any yet. If it ends up that there is no proof, that there is no collusion, how do you obstruct against something that you didn't do? You know, it almost seems like it doesn't make any sense.
You can obstruct against finding out if there are Martians on Mars or here walking among us, and if you still obstruct, it's obstruction.
Yeah.
And that's what the question, it seems to be, that Robert Mueller is asking as special counsel, because the special counsel can follow the evidence wherever it leads. What we're actually seeing here, why the president is going out and doing this and questioning this investigation overall, as well as his attorney, Jay Sekulow and Mark Kasowitz, is because it's all about the base. If they discredit everything or the investigators before anything really big comes out, if something big comes out, it helps protect the president from Republicans walking away. Because if the base is still with the president, then Republicans are less likely to stand up to him and say, yes, maybe we should move towards some sort of disciplinary action if it ever reaches that level, which it's not looking like it will at this point.
Okay. Doug, if there is no collusion here, do you think Democrats will accept the results of this investigation? Will they be able to just say it sounds like the president, when it comes to obstruction, was just frustrated and was just trying to just get this thing out of the way so he could get his job done?
Rob, I think you're way ahead of us. We've got a long investigation to go. You know, I think the principal actor in this deal is General Flynn. There was a long piece in today's New York Times about his business activities. And I think this is a man who is really at the centerpiece of whatever potential collusion, and I underscore that word, could well have occurred. So before we rush to judgment and say no evidence of collusion, let's hear from General Flynn. Let's assess what, if anything, he did or said to the Russians during the election, and what he said or didn't say to the president about those contacts. I think that's the big issue. We're not close to that yet.
Yeah. Evan, are you surprised that at this point in the investigation, we may have an obstruction case against the president, or we may have an investigation into obstruction, but still no investigation into collusion? Don't you think that speaks volumes to what's going on here?
I think that the investigation, again, the special counsel goes out and follows the evidence where it leads. While they are trying to hunt down and find out whether or not there was collusion, and I hope if they've proved that there was no collusion, that they make it public so it can satisfy as many people across the country as possible and put this issue to bed. But when you see the president come out and fire James Comey for varying circumstances, depending upon who you're asking, you legally have to follow that and find out what's going on. If the president of the United States, if we actually go out and look at what has come out about General Flynn and his dealings, it's clear he has most likely broken the law in several actions he took and was already under investigation by the FBI for separate matters, his business relations with Turkey, as well as how he illegal lobbying. So that we're fudging the two, or pardon me, we're creating a false equivalency between the Russia investigation as well as the Flynn investigation. Yeah. The president is accused of asking the Flynn investigation to be stopped, and he can't do that.
Yeah, and I still just think that if you take the president at his word and he had no idea about anything going on with Russia, the frustration must be palpable for him. I mean, I can't even imagine. So you just wonder how that's going to play into how this all it comes together. Guys, stand by for just a second because we are going to go to a story and then we're going to talk about that.